Hello, I'm David Shepard, designer of Upon a Hillside, which is a 3D abstract board game. I went ahead and put some of the stuff up here just as an example, but in general, this is going to be a two-player game, and each player will receive two painters and 10 buildings. With the 10 buildings, you'll notice that you have one 4-height building, two 3 heights, three 2 heights, and 4 single heights. Now the trees are going to come in 5 different colors, represented by the 5 different colors of dice. And you will have 6 of each color type of tree. And then there's this dice tower here, which will tell you which era that you're actually in. Now, as dice are left at the end of the round, this is going to go around, and eventually, whenever it reaches the dice tower again, it's going to trigger the end of an era. You're going to score certain points, and then you pop that in. Now you're in era 2, and then at the end of era 2, era 3, and then that's going to trigger the end of the game. Now, each round there's going to be an active player, and what they do is they put dice into the tower, and then they pick one die. The next player will pick 2 dice. Then the start player picks another die, and based on what die is left, time will pass. If it's an odd result, you're only going to go forward 1. If it's an even result, it's going to go forward 2. So now that you have the dice, you have a couple 3 options you can do. And the first option is going to be placing a building. You take a look and you see your coordinates. Right here we have 2, 5. So that means I can either act on this space or this space. Now this space is occupied by an opponent, so I can't really place there. So instead I'm going to place here. Now if the space is occupied, you can't really work on it. Or if there's a tree, so on and so forth. If you are already there, instead of placing a new building, you instead upgrade a building. So you replace the building that's currently there with a too tall building. Now, the buildings initially are going to be how you score your trees, but towards the end of the game, you're going to try to get your buildings clustered together, because how many buildings you have directly adjacent to each other will determine your final score for your village, which is the number of buildings times the tallest building. So you always want to try to get your 4 building out there somewhere. Now, if you want to place a building and you don't have any left, so these buildings are limited, then you cannot take that action. So for example, if I want to place another building, I have no single space buildings. I have to figure out a way to upgrade a current building to get me a single space so that I can expand further out. So that's the first action. The next action is placing trees. So I'm going to go ahead, take this one back from here, and then show you how to do trees. Trees, you take the 2 color of the dice, so for example, orange and yellow, and then you're going to plant trees. The first tree that you plant has to be one of the spaces that you took. So for example, I have to place this yellow here. The next tree I place can be orthogonally or diagonally adjacent. So I have that there. I'm going to put that one right down there. Now the trees are important because at the end of an era, you're going to get points based on the trees that are surrounding your buildings. So I'll get a point for each tree. So 1, 2, 3, 4. If I have a tree that's matching my color, I will get bonus points. So 5, 6. But if I have a tree that's of an opponent's color, so this purple one right here, I'm going to lose a point, so that takes me back down to 5. At the end of the era, all the trees will come off the board, but the buildings will be there until the end of the game. So that's 2 out of the 3 actions. The final action are these painters. You get 2 of them an era, and what you do is you take one of the 2 dice, and then you're going to be placing on the left or side of that, the left or right side of that icon in order to paint a painting. So what you do is, if I take the left of this 5 space, I'm going to now count the number of different things that I see. So for example, I can see this tree, this tree, this tree, this building, this building, this building is hidden. So I would get 5 points out of that. Now, if that was reversed and I saw that, I could get an additional point because I could, well, actually, this tree is hiding that one. So I could turn around and get a point for having those because I get to see this thing, this thing, this thing, this thing, this thing, and this thing. However, if something is hidden behind, no matter how you can visually see it, it's obstructing the view by too much. Also, if you see 2 of the same kind, so the same kind of building or the same kind of tree, it's just not going to be worth additional points. So in this case, if this orange one is right here, because I already see an orange here, and I see these 2 buildings, I'm only going to get 1 point, 2 points, 3 points, 4 points for that. And then the other thing that you get with the painter is you will get a gold brick. You can turn in the gold brick on future turns in order to change the result of one of your 2 dice. And if you ever have a turn where the dice that you chose don't let you take an action, then you also get a gold brick to help you on future turns. So that's basically a rough run view of Upon a Hillside, which was my 3D abstract game. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.